Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I wanted to do a video because I've spent the whole day today basically doctoring a deck, changing a deck because I wasn't able to work with the deck and I wanted to make it into a deck that I could work with. So the deck is the Wisdom of Trees Oracle. And I bought this a couple of years ago or a year ago or something, directly from the seller in the UK, and I received the deck. I really like it. I really love the cards, and I've made this little bag for it, which it goes in very nicely, and I edged the cards as well. And I mean, they're beautiful cards. I edged them in like greens and browns, and yeah, I love the size of the deck. It's glossy, but I don't mind glossy cards. And the artwork is by, what's her name? The same lady who illustrated the Forest of Enchantment. Yeah, Marilla Allwood. And I absolutely love her art. So yeah, that's why I bought the deck, basically for the art. But then when I started to work with it, the first problem that I had was that the cards only had the name of the tree. And that's not enough for me to, and there wasn't enough information in the images for me to be able to sort of draw symbolism. I mean, I could do it a little bit with some of the cards, but I wanted more. I wanted a couple of keywords, basically. So every time I drew a card, I would have to then go to the guidebook and find out what was the keyword, and then I inevitably ended up reading the descriptions. So the guidebook's nicely set out. It has the name of the tree, a keyword, and the Latin name for the tree, and then it has a diva message, and then it has a little bit more information about the kind of history of the tree, and then where it's native, and then it has what this means in a reading, which is all great. That's loads of information, but some of it is like more kind of scientific, some of it is historical. The diva message is a kind of essence of the tree and relates to the keyword, but then often I found that the actual reading, I couldn't see a connection between that and this or this. There didn't seem to always be a link, and I'm just trying to think if there's one that I can show you. So I've been going through the whole deck for a few days, and obviously I've got to know the cards really, really well, which has been a really nice exercise. It's divided into 4 different sections. So you've got, it's not in focus, there you go. So it's got roots, trunk, leaf, and then flower, fruit and seed. It's not always very easy to find the tree because you never know if it's in roots or leaf or trunk, and they're not numbered. So that's another little gripe, but again, not a huge deal breaker. I know which one it was. I think it was the silver birch. Yeah, here we go. So silver birch is one of my favourite trees as well. And so I read this one. So again, the art is absolutely beautiful, but it's a silver birch cleansing. Silver birch diva message. I'm the mother of the forest. My trunk and branches look delicate, but I'm strong because I bend with the wind. If you work with me, I'll teach you how to cleanse your body and your spirit to find peace and complete health. So it's about cleansing and cleansing your body. I'm not sure about the bending, but it's the mother of the forest. So yeah, another name for silver birch is the lady of the forest, connected with Freya. and then it says it represents motherhood, and then it's used to increase circulation and so on. And then the in a reading it says, pay attention to what you're eating and drinking. Do your best to choose food and drink that are nourishing, pure, and suit your metabolism. If possible, begin growing your own fruit, vegetables, and herbs. Now that's just not useful for me. I mean, I get, cleansing by growing your own fruit, but in a reading, when I'm pulling a card of the day, when I'm thinking about something like cleansing, I'm not thinking about starting to grow my own fruit. And again, it didn't really link with some of this, and silver birch is a bendy tree. So I find the link between the different sections in some of the cards is a bit lacking. And then, as I said, I also wanted to be able to, I wanted a couple of keywords on the card so that I could draw a card and I don't have to then go to the book. I can get the message from the cards. So what I did initially was I just went through all of the cards and I took the keywords from the book and I just wrote the keywords on the cards. And I put them on the right hand side next to the, that's the right one, next to the card. So Sugi, sacredness, and that was the card keyword as well. And I went through and did that for all of the cards, but it didn't feel like enough, just a one word keyword. It didn't bring, and sometimes, in fact, there were two that were harmony. Two of the cards have harmony as a keyword. And so it felt like I needed more information, like what kind of harmony, how is that embodied by this particular tree's symbolism. So I went back through all of the descriptions in the book and I looked for extra information, and then sometimes I found there wasn't enough additional information to get a strong keyword from the book. So I also have this, the Healing Plants Bible, and it has a whole section on trees. So for example, Cedar of Lebanon, oh look at that, very useful opening on that page, because there's the Cedar of Lebanon in the other book. So Cedar of Lebanon was one of the cards. It says spiritual strength, and then I went through the information here about Cedars of Lebanon and the additional keywords. The correspondences, and then I was looking for an additional keyword for the Cedar of Lebanon. And the other thing I drew on was my own relationship with some of these trees, because obviously, you come across trees in different ways in your life, and some of them have particular meanings for me as well, through my own experiences with them. So I'll just show you some of the cards. So for willow, harmony was the key word, and then it was also around, so they make musical instruments, and there was this sense of ripples and harmonious music, and I was thinking about how when the leaf, because they grow by water obviously, when the leaf touches the water it creates sort of concentric circles. And then the eucalyptus, so balance was the key word, but the description, both in the guidebook for the card pack and in the other book that I've got, and they both talked about the use of eucalyptus for didgeridoos. So I added vibrational sound. Some of the words came directly from the descriptions in the different books. Banyan, also known as a strangler fig, and I thought that was something to highlight, because it can kill the tree that it grows off. So it kind of has a host tree, and then eventually it actually kills the tree and creates kind of structure around it from the air roots. So I added strangler fig for that one. Olive, I was thinking about the oil and consecrated oil, and how that's often used in different religious rituals. And I was also looking at the picture in this because that's a oil lamp there. So sanctity, consecration. Monterey pine, yeah, it was the sort of straightness of the pine, so the purposefulness of the pine growing as straight as that. So I added tall and straight. The peepal is, I've forgotten the other name for the tree, but I think it relates to the banyan, actually. Or it might be another tree, a fig or something. But the tree where the Buddha gained enlightenment was called the Bodhi tree, and it was a peepal tree. So enlightenment was the keyword in the book, and then I added the Bodhi tree. And the reason I added that was because I've been there. I've seen the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. It's like a descendant of the original Bodhi tree that the Buddha gained enlightenment under. But that's meaningful for me because I've been there, and so in a reading, it might have particular kind of connotations for me. Yeah, the maple, change colour, versatility. Obviously, I'm trying to have keywords that relate to each other as well. So Bodhi tree, enlightenment, change colour, being versatile. So maybe in a reading it would be, you know, change your colours, change your attitude, or change your approach or something. Apple, generosity. And this one's very personal because my daughter's name translates to apple in a couple of languages. So I think this card would be meaningful in that sense, around fertility, generosity, and my daughter. Montezuma cypress, so the swampy ground, and solidity. So I just wanted it. Solidity was a keyword, but it didn't tell me enough, and it was solidity in swampy ground, you know, in uncertain territory, treacherous territory. Black elder, the white goddess, and the elder flowers with the white, tiny little white flowers, and then abundance. And then from that you get things like elderflower tea and elderflower wine. Camphor, dissolution of ego. I think that came from the second book. This idea that camphor can bring clarity, but then also that it can bring clarity through dissolving the ego. And there's the cedar of Lebanon, so that was the one I was looking at earlier. So yeah, strength. Let me just go back to the books. So strength comes from the original book. So Cedar of Lebanon, humans have respected and worked with me for millennia. They use my wood to make their temples because they recognize that I can give them spiritual strength. And it talks in the central text about civilizations treat the cedar with awe and reverence. It features in the story of Gilgamesh, who was punished after destroying a cedar forest for its timber. And it's resistant to rot and insect damage, and this makes it ideal for building houses and ships. So this idea of strength, but spiritual strength particularly. And then in the second book, so there I've got spiritual roots and strength. So I think I started with spiritual on one side and strength on the other, but then I added roots. So Cedars of Lebanon have been nominated as one of the new 7 wonders of nature. They're the most frequently mentioned tree in the Bible. Oh, you know what I did? Spiritual roots because of the Bible connection. That's where it came from. Because they were the most frequently mentioned tree in the Bible. And King Solomon and he built the Holy Temple in Jerusalem with Lebanon cedars. So there was this link to spiritual roots, both on the Christian and Jewish side. So yeah, that was why I added spiritual roots. So it was spiritual strength, and then I added roots to the keyword. Yeah, silver birch. So I added Lady of the Woods, which we saw earlier, and cleansing. Pomegranate, the inner journey, and Persephone. So Persephone, I think, ate some pomegranate seeds and ended up getting in some very large trouble about it and had to spend 6 months of the year in the underworld or something. So it's connected to that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, rather than go through all of the cards one by one, is shuffle and draw. There we go. So I'm going to do just a 3-card, past, present, future, or what led to the current situation. What is the current situation? Just keep that one in mind. I like it when they fall out. Yeah, so what led to the current situation, what is the current situation, and what's going to happen if I don't change the current situation. Let's put it that way. And so what's the future if the present stays as it is? And the question is around my career, because I recently went on a hiatus with my career. So let's see if anything interesting comes out. Okay, so past, present, future. So just for brevity, I'm going to do a voiceover here because I was umming and ahhing about the cards in the reading. But basically the past, I think the hidden secret is around my spirituality, which I put to one side for my career. The central card there is about getting clarity around what I want to do with my career. And also, I mean, the dissolution of ego, I think, relates to being a professor. Because you need a big ego to be a professor and want to be sort of known in your field. So I think it's around losing that attachment to my professorial career. And then the future, the pomegranate is about going in deeply to try to understand my spiritual practice. It might be about creativity as well, because that's kind of the path that I'm going down. Okay, and then I drew the cards again because I wasn't clear on the reading at the time, and I actually got 2 of the same cards. So again, inner journey, understanding my more creative side, and then you've got cleansing, which is again a little bit like the camphor side of things, and then in the future we've got camphor, getting clarity, and the dissolution of ego. So both readings came back to this dissolution of ego. So I decided to do a 3rd reading just for trying out the keywords again, and this one was also pretty clear in terms of the career. So the Strangler Fig and the anchoring card, the banyan tree, was about the structure, the academy that I was working in, sort of strangling the inner me, the spiritual side of me. And then harmony, that's where I am now, achieving harmony. And then in the future, or the outcome would be around a sort of more balanced and communicative role in my career. So whether I go into writing or into other types of creative work. So I think the cards came out quite nice and clearly. And I think the keywords worked for me. And since then I have drawn some more cards and I'm finding them quite nice to work with now. So I think I've achieved what I set out to achieve with adding the keywords to the cards to make the deck more workable for me. So I think it would be nice to hear more about other people's like modifications of decks that you've done. If there are any decks that you've had to heavily modify to get them to work for you. You know, obviously there's kind of the normal light modification, which is edging. Then there's sort of slightly stronger modifications like changing the borders, cutting off borders and so on. But I don't think many people write on their cards. I know it was hard for me to do the first time. I think people don't really want to kind of change the original artwork a lot of the time. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments and if you've had any experiences like this one. Okay, bye guys.